The sun had barely risen over the bustling streets of Onitsha, but 18-year-old Amara was already awake. While most young people her age were still asleep, dreaming about their future, Amara was standing over a charcoal stove behind a small rented room, frying slices of plantain in hot oil. The crackling sound filled the cool morning air. She stirred the chips carefully, wiped sweat from her forehead, and whispered a prayer. God, please let me sell everything today. It was the same prayer she had prayed every morning for nearly 3 years. Life had not been kind to Amara. When she was 15, her father died after a brief illness. He had been a commercial bus driver, the only breadwinner of the family. His death shattered everything. The little savings he had disappeared into hospital bills. Soon afterward, their landlord evicted them because they could no longer pay rent. Amara's mother struggled to survive by washing clothes for wealthy families. Some days she returned home exhausted with only a few hundred naira. Other days she returned with nothing. There were nights when the family went to bed hungry. Nights when Amara listened to her younger brothers crying because they had no food. Those cries pierced her heart more painfully than hunger itself. One evening, after watching her mother break down in tears, Amara made a decision. She would help. The next morning, she borrowed a small amount of money from a neighbor and bought a bunch of ripe plantains. She sliced them carefully, fried them, packaged them in transparent nylon bags, and began selling them around motor parks and markets. The profit was tiny. But it was something. And for a family drowning in hardship, something was better than nothing. From that day onward, Amara became known as the Plantain Chips Girl. Every morning she carried a tray on her head and walked through crowded streets shouting, "Fresh plantain chips. Sweet and crunchy." Some people bought. Many ignored her. A few mocked her. "Beautiful girl like you, and this is what you're doing. Why don't you find a rich boyfriend? You remain poor forever if this is your business." Their words hurt. But hunger hurt more. So she kept going. Months turned into years. Her friends gained admission into universities. They posted pictures on social media wearing beautiful clothes and attending parties. Meanwhile, Amara spent her days standing under the hot sun. Sometimes she wondered if life would ever change. Sometimes she cried herself to sleep. Yet every morning she woke up and continued. Because quitting was not an option. One rainy season afternoon, business was particularly terrible. Dark clouds covered the sky. Heavy rain poured relentlessly. Most traders had packed up and gone home. Amara stood under a leaking shed with her tray of unsold chips. If she didn't sell them that day, the chips would become soft and stale. That would mean a loss. And a loss meant less food for her family. She looked at the tray and fought back tears. "God," she whispered, "I'm tired." At that exact moment, an expensive black SUV pulled up near the roadside. The vehicle looked completely out of place in the muddy street. People immediately turned to stare. The door opened. A man in his late 50s stepped out. He wore a simple native outfit despite his obvious wealth. His shoes were muddy within seconds. The driver rushed forward with an umbrella. But the man waved him away. Then he began walking toward the traders. One by one, he bought items from them. He purchased vegetables from an elderly woman. Bought fruits from another trader. Then his eyes landed on Amara. He approached her stall. "How much is one pack?" he asked. 200 naira, sir." The man picked one. Opened it. Tasted a chip. Then another. A smile appeared on his face. "This is very good. Thank you, sir. How many packs do you have?" Amara counted quickly. 86 packs. The man nodded. "I'll take all of them." For a moment, Amara thought she had misheard him. "All of them, sir?" "Yes." Her eyes widened. Nobody had ever bought that many before. Not even during festive seasons. The man reached into his pocket and handed her money. More money than she had ever held at once. Her hands trembled. "Sir, you've given me too much." "Keep the change," he replied. Tears immediately filled her eyes. "Thank you, sir. God bless you." The man smiled gently. "What is your name?" "Amara." "And do you only sell plantain chips?" "Yes, sir." "Do you enjoy it?" The question surprised her. Nobody had ever asked. After a pause she answered honestly. "I don't enjoy suffering, sir. But I enjoy creating something people love." The man studied her face. Then he asked another question. "If someone gave you an opportunity, what would you do?" Without hesitation she replied. "I would build a real business. I would employ people. I would take care of my mother." The man remained silent for several seconds. Then he reached into his pocket and handed her a business card. "Come to this address on Monday." Amara stared at the card. She had never seen a card so elegant. "Sir, why?" "Because I believe you're meant for more than this roadside." Then he walked away. Just like that. The SUV disappeared into the rain. The entire encounter lasted less than 10 minutes. Yet it would change Amara's life forever. That evening, she told her mother everything. Her mother listened carefully. Then shook her head. "Be careful. Not everyone has good intentions." Amara agreed. But something about the man's eyes felt genuine. Monday finally arrived. Wearing her cleanest dress, she traveled to the address. Her heart pounded as she approached a large office building. The sign outside revealed that it belonged to a successful food manufacturing company. Her knees almost gave way. A receptionist welcomed her. Moments later, she was escorted into a spacious office. The same man sat behind the desk. He smiled. "You came?" "Yes, sir." "Good." He introduced himself as Chief Okafor, founder of one of the largest snack companies in the region. Amara was speechless. She had unknowingly met a millionaire. Chief Okafor asked about her life, her family, her struggles, her dreams. She answered honestly. When she finished, he leaned back thoughtfully. "You know what impressed me most?" Amara shook her head. "It wasn't your chips." She looked confused. "It was your attitude." "What do you mean, sir?" "Most people complain. Most people blame others. But even in hardship, you kept walking." Amara lowered her gaze. Chief Okafor continued. "I grew up poor too." That surprised her. He smiled. "I used to hawk groundnuts. Many people laughed at me. But I refused to quit." For the next hour, he shared his journey from poverty to success. Every word inspired her. Then he said something unexpected. "I want to invest in you." Amara's heart skipped. "Sir, I want to help you build a proper plantain chips business." Tears formed instantly. She could hardly believe what she was hearing. Chief Okafor raised his hand gently. "There's one condition." "What is it, sir?" "You must work harder than you've ever worked before." "I will." "You must learn." "I will." "You must remain humble." "I promise." The partnership began immediately. Chief Okafor provided training. He introduced her to food processing experts. He taught her bookkeeping, marketing, customer service, packaging, everything. For the first time in her life, Amara realized that hard work alone was not enough. Knowledge mattered too. Within 6 months, her plantain chips looked completely different. The packaging became attractive. The branding became professional. Sales increased dramatically. Small supermarkets began placing orders. Soon, local stores started calling. Then distributors. Demand grew faster than she imagined. Amara hired 2 workers. Then 4. Then 10. For the first time, other young people earned income because of her business. The girl who once struggled to sell a single tray of chips now managed a growing company. But success did not come without challenges. There were failed batches, equipment breakdowns, supply shortages, dishonest suppliers, unexpected expenses. Many times she felt overwhelmed. Many times she wanted to give up. Yet each time, she remembered the years she spent working under the scorching sun. Compared to that struggle, these challenges were simply lessons. 3 years later, something remarkable happened. A major supermarket chain offered to stock her products nationwide. The contract was worth millions of naira. When she signed the agreement, tears rolled down her cheeks. Not because of the money, but because she remembered where she started. The hungry nights, the insults, the tears, the rainy afternoon when she almost gave up. Everything suddenly made sense. Soon, Amara's brand became recognized across different states. People admired her success. Many called her lucky. But they never saw the years of sacrifice behind the breakthrough. They never saw the mornings she woke up before dawn. They never saw the days she walked kilometers under the sun. They never saw the tears she cried in secret. Success often looks sudden from the outside. But it is usually built quietly over many years. One day, Amara visited the same roadside where she once sold chips. Not as a struggling hawker, but as a successful entrepreneur. She noticed a young girl selling oranges. The girl's clothes were worn. Her face looked tired. Yet she reminded Amara of herself. Amara approached her. "How long have you been selling?" "2 years," the girl replied. "Do you go to school?" The girl shook her head sadly. "My mother can't afford it." Amara felt a lump in her throat. She remembered those painful days. The feeling of being invisible. The feeling that nobody cared. At that moment she made a decision. She paid the girl's school fees. Not just for 1 term. For several years. The girl burst into tears. So did her mother. As Amara walked away, she smiled. The cycle was continuing. Someone had once helped her. Now she was helping someone else. Years later, during an interview, a journalist asked her, "What was the secret to your success?" Amara thought carefully before answering. Then she said, "The stranger who changed my life did something important. He gave me an opportunity. But before that opportunity came, I had already spent years preparing for it." The journalist nodded. Amara continued. "If I had been lazy, the opportunity would have been wasted. If I had quit, I would never have met him. If I had allowed bitterness to consume me, I would never have recognized the blessing." Then she shared the lesson that became famous throughout the country. Never underestimate small beginnings. A tray of plantain chips fed my family. A tray of plantain chips opened a door. A tray of plantain chips connected me to my destiny. Keep working. Keep learning. Keep believing. You never know which ordinary day will become the day that changes everything. The audience erupted in applause. But Amara's mind drifted back to that rainy afternoon. The leaking shed. The unsold chips. The exhaustion. The prayer. And the stranger. Sometimes life changes in a single moment. But that moment often arrives after years of persistence. The truth is that many people quit when they are closest to their breakthrough. They stop after the 100th rejection. The 100th disappointment. The 100th failure. Not realizing that success may be waiting around the next corner. Amara's story became a source of inspiration across Nigeria. Not because she became wealthy, but because she proved something powerful. Dignity exists in honest work. No job is too small when it is done with integrity. No dream is too big when it is backed by persistence. And no life is beyond transformation when determination meets opportunity. The girl who once sold plantain chips to survive eventually built a company that employed hundreds of people. She gave scholarships, supported widows, created jobs, fed families. All because she refused to surrender to hardship. And somewhere, perhaps in another crowded market, another young dreamer was carrying a tray on their head, wondering if life would ever change. If that person could hear Amara's voice, she would tell them, "Your current situation is not your final destination. Keep moving. Keep walking. Keep trusting God. One day, the same road that witnessed your struggles may become the road that celebrates your success." Sometimes the greatest miracle is not an instant breakthrough but the strength to keep going when nothing seems to be changing. Hard work, integrity, patience, and faith prepare us for opportunities we cannot yet see. Never despise humble beginnings. Your small effort today may become the foundation of an extraordinary future tomorrow. The person who changes your life may be just one encounter away, but you must still be working when that moment arrives.